This is the Global Economic Commodities Scrap Metal and Recycling Report by our BENLEE roll-off trailer and gondola open top trailer, June 22nd, 2020. COVID-19 update. Forecasted U.S. deaths skyrocketed to 201,129 through October 1st. U.S. deaths are now a staggering 119,865. As for a horrific failure on March 5th, South Korea had 35 deaths and the U.S. had only 11. So South Korea had 3 times the number of deaths we had. As of yesterday, South Korea had increased to 280, so an increase of 245. We had 119,864 as of yesterday, so an increase of 119,853. Related COVID hospitalizations are now increasing in many states, and the government acknowledged yesterday getting ready for a second COVID wave in the fall. As for good news, the therapeutic and vaccine developments are very positive. U.S. weekly steel production rose to 1.21 million tons as the U.S. is slowly reopening. Oil price rose to $39.75 a barrel as production cuts remain in place and global demand is increasing. The U.S. oil rig count fell to 189, down a huge 88.2% from the high, as the U.S. production cut commitment to OPEC remains in place, which is supporting Saudi Arabia, Russia, and U.S. oil company profits. U.S. weekly oil production fell to 10.5 million barrels a day, the lowest in over 2 years, as the U.S. abandoned our global energy dominance plan. Gasoline prices are now rising here in the U.S. Iron ore fell to $104 a ton, but remains high as the global economy is on the rise. Scrap steel #1 heavy melt composite price was steady at $210 gross ton on slight increased demand and increasing supply. There is downward pressure coming for July. Hot rolled coil steel fell to $23.94 a hundred on small demand increases, but as supply is increasing faster. Copper was steady at $2.61 a pound, the multi-month high on China's economic rebound and hopes of a strong global recovery. Aluminum rose to 71.8 cents per pound on the same economic rebound and hopes of a strong global recovery. May's U.S. housing starts rose 4.3% to an annualized rate of 974,000. This shows a very slow recovery and remains below the levels of 1960, 60 years ago. This is bad news for future economic growth. June's New York State Manufacturing Index improved to -0.2 from -48.5, so it remains weak but improved on optimism for future business. Note that it peaked in mid-2018, showing the economy had actually been slowing for about 18 months pre-COVID. May's U.S. retail sales jumped 17.7% from a record fall of 14.7% from April. Clothing and furniture had the biggest increases, but overall sales were still down 6.1% from last year. U.S. deposits in banks skyrocketed by $2 trillion since COVID. April alone saw an increase of $865 billion, which is more than in any 1 year in total. This is great news for future spending as the economy continues to reopen. Wall Street's Dow Jones average rose 265 points to 25,871 as reopening the U.S. economy continues, but very slowly. BENLEE continues to expand our online parts store. Of course, you can still call us for parts as well. We stock for same-day shipment every tarp and tarp system part you could ever need, as well as rollers, tie-downs, pulleys, valves, hydraulic cylinders, fenders, and more. For not only BENLEE, but for Galbraith, Dragon, American Roll-Off, and more. We have parts and systems from Pioneer, Rollright, Donovan, US Tarp, Commercial, Heiko, Custom, Parker, Grecian, Holland, and more. As always, feel free to call or email me with any questions, and we hope all have a safe and profitable week.